Hello, I'm back again because I've had some questions as to why I include information about the Bible with political situations and how I reconcile those two things. I don't approach this from the standard faith perspective. I look at it from an historian's perspective. And because of that, it's a little different take than you may get elsewhere. I don't want to sound like I'm preaching because I'm not. I want you to understand that what I'm going to say now has to do with how people in history have viewed what we consider to be the Holy Bible in Western societies, how they view that in how they are going to proceed in their plans. Now, there are a lot of other religions and spiritual systems in the world, but the one that seems to have really influenced history has been the Judeo-Christian tradition, for lack of a better term. What I'm going to use here is a King James Bible. I want you to look this up if you will. It's Genesis 47, verses 13 to 26. This is about Joseph, the youngest, the firstborn son of Jacob by his wife Rachel, who was sold into Egypt by his brothers and became viceroy of Egypt. I want you to see what he does here, and then consider what is being done by whatever you want to call this grand conspiracy that many people like to talk about, the New World Order, the new financial system of the world, controlling people and how they operate. Do I believe that there's one specific conspiracy? I don't even want to call it that. I want to talk about the fact that there are a great many organizations that use this as their operations manual. Not just religions, not just churches, but societies, secret and otherwise. Is this the infallible Word of God? I'm not even going to go there. I don't want to talk about that. I want you to understand that I'm looking at this from a historical perspective. So let's read it. Keep in mind to view this from the point of view of both good and evil. You can use this either way. Just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should. Okay? Genesis 47, verses 13 through 26. Read it very quickly. And there was no bread in all the land, for the famine was very sore, so that the land of Egypt and all the land of Canaan fainted by the reason of the famine. And Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan, for the corn which they brought, and Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house. And when money failed in the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came unto Joseph and said, Give us bread, for why should we die in thy presence, for the money faileth? And Joseph said, Give your cattle, and I will give you for your cattle if money fail. And they brought their cattle unto Joseph, and Joseph gave them bread in exchange for horses, and for the flocks, and for the cattle of the herds, and for the asses. And he fed them with bread for all their cattle for that year. When that year was ended, they came unto him the second year, and said unto him, We will not hide it from my lord, how that our money is spent. My lord hath also our herds of cattle. There is not aught left in sight of my lord, but our bodies and our lands. Wherefore shall we die before thine eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for bread, and we and our land will be servants unto Pharaoh. And give us seed that we may live and not die, that the land be not desolate. And Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh. For the Egyptians sold every man his field, because the famine prevailed over them, so the land became Pharaoh's. And as for the people, he removed them to cities from one end of the borders of Egypt even to the other end thereof. Good way to control people. Only the land of the priests bought he not, for the priests had a portion assigned them of Pharaoh's, and did eat their portion which Pharaoh gave them. Wherefore they sold not their lands. Then Joseph said unto the people, Behold, I have bought you this day and your land for Pharaoh. Lo, here is the seed for you, and ye shall sow the land. And it shall come to pass in the increase that ye shall give the fifth part unto Pharaoh, not a tithe, folks, not 10%, 20%, a fifth part. And 4 parts shall be your own. for seed of the field, and for your food, and for them of your households, and for the food of your little ones. And they said, Thou hast saved our lives. Let us find grace in the sight of my Lord, and we will be Pharaoh's servants. And Joseph made it a law over the land of Egypt to this day that Pharaoh should have the 5th part, except the land of the priests only, which became not Pharaoh's. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't care how you view the scriptures. You need to look at it as an operations manual, not just for good people, but for what we might consider to be the bad. We have serious constitutional problems right now. What are the rights of the individual? What are the rights of the state? Has mankind arrived at the point of consciousness where the individual's right to progress is as important as that of the state's? Maybe even more so. Think about these things, ladies and gentlemen. We'll talk about them again later. Thank you for coming.